Dr. Negin, how long did your visits with Nikolas usually last?
On average, I can't say specifically. I mean, I certainly don't recall, but it would be a typical office follow-up. So I would say approximately 15 minutes. They were coded as far as billing code, which also has a time frame generally, which is up to 20 minutes usually. So in that range.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't spending hours with him at a time?
No, that's
okay. Now, Mr. Marcus asked you about whether sometimes parents, because they have children who take medication and they spend a lot of time, that they sometimes will make medication decisions, or that they feel they have the ability to make medication decisions. You remember that?
He made the comment, yes.
Okay. Now, in your practice, especially when your patients are children, you rely heavily on feedback from the parents. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But in your practice, would you prefer that you make the medication decisions based on what you're told as opposed to the parents making the medication decisions?
Well, of course, and when I discuss in his record as far as compliance and so forth, that's sort of what that suggests.
Okay. And in terms of relying on the feedback from the parents, did Mrs. Cruz tell you that while Nikolas was at West Glades Middle School, he received 77 disciplinary referrals?
No.
Okay. And you, we're talking about your diagnoses of him. Initially, it was disruptive behavior disorder from the DSM-4, right?
Yes.
And then disruptive impulse control, it was called, I guess. Not otherwise specified,
right.
But when it changed.
Yes. Okay.
And is that diagnosis, would that qualify as a basis for a later diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder as an adult?
I'm not sure exactly how you're phrasing that.
Okay, so if you just diagnosed an adolescent with disruptive behavior disorder not otherwise specified or disruptive impulse control disorder, would that, in your experience, be a sufficient basis to diagnose as an adult antisocial personality disorder?
To be diagnosed with antisocial personality, you have to have the symptoms. Again, just like any disorder, there is a criteria on antisocial personality disorder that you have to have symptoms of conduct disorder before age 15. That's really the only criteria to, otherwise anybody could be diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder at any time in their adult lives, as long as they have that criteria met that you had some symptomatology of conduct disorder, not necessarily meaning the diagnosis, but having some symptoms before age 15.
Okay. And may I just have a moment?
You may.
If the state doesn't object, Judge, I would also, you were shown a letter that you said you did not recognize, right, that was written to you?
Correct.
Okay. And with the certification of business records, Judge, I would ask that this be entered into evidence. It's marked now as defense 4Y. It was previously marked as a state.
It is got a business record, so it's in this.
Okay, without objection, defense 4Y will be received as defense 37. You can just give it to me, please.
May I have a moment?
You may.
So you said a moment ago that you were not aware of all of the disciplinary referrals at West Glades Middle School, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if you had been made aware of those, you may have considered at the time a different regimen of medication for his behaviors.
I can't render an opinion on that. I wasn't aware of it, so I can't say what hypothetically I would have done or not done.
Okay. And it's not in your notes, so that means Mrs. Cruz didn't tell you about it, correct?
Tell me about what?
The behavioral problems he was having at West Glades Middle School.
I mean, again, the record does demonstrate that he had behavior problems, not the 77 referrals or something of that nature that you mentioned.
Okay. And you said you did not ever receive a letter that was written, you are not, nobody communicated with you from West Glades Middle School about his behavioral problems?
From West Glades themselves?
Yes.
No.
Okay. And permission to publish the letter.
Okay.
And you testified that you were not aware of any of these.
Lower it.
Low.
To the top.
Hold on, Okay, so
That's the same letter I'm assuming you're showing me.
this is the letter that you were shown earlier that
Right.
you said you didn't receive, but was written to you, right? Okay, and so it indicates that he is now at Cross Creek. Is that correct?
That's what it says there. Yeah.
Okay, and it's basically an expression of concern from his treatment providers, his therapy, his school counselor, about his behaviors.
I'm gonna object. This is leading, the letter can speak for itself.
Sustained.
I'll just let it.
You know, I've been asked about the letter several times. I can elaborate a little bit. As far as, I think the state asked me a little bit about my knowledge of Cross Creek. I can say that there's not too many child psychiatrists in all of Broward County, so most of the schools who have difficulties with students, they do get in touch with me, okay, one way or the other. One of the most common things that Cross Creek specifically has done over the years is these staff members, so to speak, they accompany clients to my office with concerns, okay? So I have staff members at Cross Creek come with the parent, come with the student, and express concerns.
Okay, but did that happen?
This did not happen one time with Mr. Cruz.
Okay. I'm gonna just show the second part of the letter.
And a few other things about the letter. The date on the letter, I can't see it. I think it was June something.
I'm sorry. June 5th of 2014.
Right. So obviously the content of the letter is pretty significant concerns. That's why I've been shown the letter several times. If you look at the medical record, his next appointment with me after April 1st was August 25th. Okay. If you have a level of concern, okay, you either get a client in with their outpatient psychiatrist, you either get a patient hospitalized, you do something.
Okay.
This is 3 months after he presented, this letter was written with no knowledge by his psychiatrist. It's not something you wait 3 months for to get seen. That's not conducive to communicating a letter of this nature.